Hey, it's Tom with Resource Education, and in this video I'll tell you how to use these TenseBuild cards. Here I have TenseBuild V1 in an effective way in the classroom. Now this is a P2 activity, meaning that we're trying to automate the forms of the language so that the language becomes more and more reflexive. Now I've gotten requests to do this video because we have this big pack of 30 some odd different ways of using both the TenseBuild and the short answer race cards. In these videos, I'll organize some ideas on how to use these cards by increasing difficulty for students. Now, with these cards, increased difficulty comes with increased variation. So I have 3 stacks: subjects, verbs, and time phrases. The more I combine these stacks, the more difficult it is. So the initial level of difficulty is just choosing one stack. So let's start this way. What I really like about these cards is that it gives you, the teacher, a lot of flexibility. If you know how to use them in the lesson, then you can adapt in the lesson depending on what your students need. Now this is B1, but let's say my students are having trouble with just to be. So I have an advanced class right now, and I have this student who is great at English. She's really good, she has a great high level of vocabulary, but she keeps using to be wrong in the past. She keeps on saying some things like, you was. So how can I work with these cards to make that more automatic? Because if I tell her, if I just say, oh, remember it's you were, because second person, here's what we're talking. Of course she knows that, but it's not reflexive enough is the idea. So first, we'll start slow, then we'll do an activity I call a grab game. So ready? So Napoleon was. My dog was. My neighbor's children were. My friend and I were. Okay, a dragon was. So first, we start slow. Now, we have a grab game. So I'll do it against her, or she'll do it with a partner in the lesson if it's a group lesson, and we go like this. So I mix up the cards, and she has to respond with was or were. Were. So babies were. Whoever's the fastest gets to keep the card. Was. So whoever's the fastest gets to keep the card. That is the activity. So what I want to do is see reaction. So I can do was versus were. I can also do third person S with these subject cards. So that's something that students have trouble with at all levels. So just give me any verb. You can elicit from the students. You can just take the first one from the stack here. So here I've got climb trees. I'll write climb trees on the board, and the students have the subject cards, and they have to say either climb trees or climbs trees, depending on what subject is flipped. So we have, ready? Climbs trees. So my doctor climbs trees. Then I'll mix up the verb later on for increased repetition, and they go through it that way with a grab game. Now, another way to do that is timed. So I'll have the students take, let's say, 10 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they have 10 cards, and they have to say, let's take was, were again. How quickly can they go through them? So ready? Set, I'll have my timer, I'll say, go! A dragon was, Elvis was, babies were, my doctor was, most dentists were, lots of birds were, Brady's friends were, the taxi driver was, lots of old ladies were, angry robots were, and stop. So I stop my timer, and the students tell me the time, I write down their time on the board, and then I give them a goal. Now their goal should be difficult, so they'll go faster, but I don't want them to get the goal the first time because it needs to be something that is difficult for them to achieve, that encourages them to repeat the activity. So we can do a grab game, reaction, who's the fastest. We can also time that sort of activity and set them a goal. Either way, it's repetition. The students will be ready to repeat because the activity is active. That's the idea. So that is an activity just using the subject cards and maybe combining with one verb card. Now here's one with time phrase cards. So with time phrase cards, I'll take just one verb. I like to start with to do. because that's just a general word that they'll need to know, and it will help them with just general questions. It also helps with making present simple questions when they respond with the right form. But this is all about time phrases. I want them to react. Now in these sets you'll see the different colors. The different colors represent a different time. So purple right here is in 2015, past. So all purple are past. So if I want to practice only past, I'm going to take out all the purple. If I want to practice only future, I'll take yellow. If I want to practice past and future, I'll take yellow and purple. The idea is, again, flexibility in the lesson. So you can make a decision on the spot what you want to practice. You tell the students which cards to take out and which cards you're going to work with. Because in a textbook, you'll have the tenses are generally split. So you'll have present continuous, present simple, but is there a section of the book where you have past simple, present simple, and present continuous, and future in the same section? Usually no. So this combination makes the students work with the language in a different way than what they'll see in the textbooks. So this is a do race. So I call it a do race because we're always going to use do. So we start with I do. Just that simple beginning, and we change the phrase according to what time phrase it is. So we'll start off with a timed race. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I will have the students have a timer out, and they'll say, okay, ready, set, no, first start slow, excuse me. First always start slow. So they go through it slowly. At the moment, I'm doing. Over the last 5 years, I've done. Tomorrow, I will do. Now, I'm doing. Recently, I've done. In 2015, I did. Someday, I will do. In the past few days, I have done. Oh, in a few days, excuse me, I will do. Right now, I am doing. Next month, I will do. First, slowly, then they switch again. Then you can check the students. You say, recently. Okay, nice, got it. And what about for you? Right now. Check around the lesson around the class before you go to the speed. Then, same thing, time it. Ready? Go. Right now I'm doing. In a few days I will do. Someday I will do. In 2015 I did. Over the last 5 years I have done. At the moment I'm doing. Recently I've done. Right now I'm doing. Tomorrow I'll do. Next month I'll do. 9:40. Record the time. Tom, 9:40. Then, on the board, I want a goal. 7:15. Then, repeat. So you can time it. Or, again, you can do a grab game. So ready? I'm doing. Whoever's the fastest gets it. I will do. I will do. Whoever's the fastest gets the cards, and then they play again. This is all about repetition, and it forces the students to concentrate on what they're working on. Because not only do they have to be fast, they also have to be accurate. So we're encouraging them to move away from that slow, laborious, logical thinking, and move more towards reflexive use of the language, reaction to the situation on these cards. Now that is more group work, small group work. You can also do this as a class. So let's say, for example, I want to do to be race, but in present. So just like we had before, I'll have am, is, are. So angry robots are. Lots of old ladies are. The taxi driver is. Brittany's friends are. So in this case, we've already done the grab game, the reaction. We've already done the timed race. Now this activity is called around the world. So how it goes is this. Okay, so you go through it slowly, of course. Then you have the students in your lesson. They go against each other. They compete against each other. So I'll say, I have two students right here. Okay, Billy and Sandy. Are you ready? My doctor. They respond. They say, is. Okay. So Billy won that one. Billy against Anna. You ready? Most dentists. Okay. Billy won. So Billy goes against Kate. Lots of birds. Okay, Kate won. Now Kate starts going against the other people in the lesson. So Kate versus Sam. Angry robots. Okay, Kate wins again. And the goal is to defeat everyone in the lesson and go around until you've gone all the way around the circle. Now, if you have a very large class, what you can do is have it so that you have teams. You split the class into 2 teams. You choose 1 representative from each team, and you say one of the cards, most dentists, and whichever team representative says the answer the fastest gets a point on the board. You keep the score on the board, and the students are concentrating on what's going on, and they can help each other in that case. Everyone is paying attention because it's a team game and everyone wants to win, and they're not thinking about, okay, the taxi driver, third person singular, and is. They are starting to react and really letting go of that logical thought process on the way to full fluency. Now, those are a few ways to do it. You can also do a board tap game. So if I have all the different forms of, let's say, shout on the board, shout, shouted, have shouted, will shout, and then I have 2 representatives from 2 teams at the board. And next month, they have to touch the correct form on the board in order to earn a point for their team. That is a board tap game. So right there, we have lots of different ways of playing with these cards, and that is the low variation. That is low variation, where we only have 1 set of cards that is one section of the cards, either subjects, verbs, or time phrases, that varies. If you use another card, it stays static. This is the same, sleep all day, but we change it according to the time phrases, for example. So those are low variation ways to use tense build. And the other videos will increase the variation.